And that year was the best and the worst year,
Yeah.
because that particular time, we take a break in the summer, and that September is when I went paralyzed
I'm
from the waist down and
standing
spent a
at
month
the
in the
base
hospital.
of this
And I
fall,
kept telling the doctors, I gotta
facing
get out
something
because,
I can't get
my
over.
tournament's in the month, super tournament. I've gotta, if I don't finish.
Looking up for a way out, 'cause I can't get any lower. Well, I could go left, but I should go right. So many things on the line tonight. One day at a time, there's no need to rush. I'm finding myself going through all this stuff. I'm looking for hope, I'm looking for truth, so I can be a better me for you. One day at a time, one day at a time.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the first episode of the new One Day at a Time edition of the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. Initially, I was planning to debut this new series on a Sunday and have it come out once a month, which is still the plan. But due to some complications with the virus that's going around, we had some pretty epic podcast episode opportunities coming up for you guys that had to be canceled last minute. So, with that, I decided to introduce this new One Day at a Time series as a regular Tuesday release, and hopefully they'll make a larger impact as a debut, especially with my first guest for this new series being Kate Hough. There might not be anyone I can think of in the fishing industry right now more fitting to kick off this new series than Kate. Listen in and find out why, and be sure to listen to the end and share this episode with your friends. I think a lot of people will find inspiration in Kate and her story. Thanks for being my first guest of this new series that I'm starting.
Yeah.
That I plan to have episode once a month and just kind
Okay.
of hopefully and be a little more inspirational to some people out there who are going through some tough stuff. And I
I-
know.
I've been having a rough 2 years for sure.
Yeah, I know. I was just I was looking back last night and we met the first time at ICAST
Hmm.
back in 2019
Yep, that was
and to
right in the
think
middle of my amazing year.
yeah, we talked about it. You were on your I think at that time you were on your way to making the Angler of the Year
Yep.
um in for the FLW South Carolina division, and you
Yeah,
pulled it off.
that's right. I got my there's my there's there's my
Nice.
little trophy for that, and there's my that's some little hardware I got.
Very nice. And congratulations if
Thank
I'm
you.
sure I told you back then, but to tell you again, that's
Yes,
quite
ma'am.
an accomplishment. The first lady angler to achieve that distinction.
Yes,
So
ma'am. It
very
was definitely unexpected. It was I guess my second full season. I jumped in for the FLW at the time. Now it's MLF. Um, and my first full season, I finished 42nd for the year. And so the next season, my goal was just to, do better than 42nd. I was hoping for a top 20 or something. And the first one out the gate on Lake Hartwell, South Carolina. I won that one right out, out the bat, and I was able to actually stay number one in points all year, and had several top 10 finishes, or every tournament. And so it was, I didn't even think it was possible. It was actually my husband that said, "Hey, you actually have a shot at this if you stay holding on to those points." And that year was the best and the worst year,
yeah.
because that particular time. We take a break in the summer, and that September is when I went paralyzed from the waist down and spent a month in the hospital. And I kept telling doctors, I got to get out because, my tournament's the end of the month, super tournament. I've got to, if I don't fish, then I'm not going to, get my, or, do that what I set out to achieve, and so I was removed from the hospital 2 days before that tournament.
Wow.
And, doctor's like, no, you don't need to do that. And my husband's like, my husband loves to tell the story. I walked in the house with a walker and I threw the walker across the room and I said, I'm fishing that tournament. Let's go. And so he's like, are you sure? And he's like, all right, well, I'll get you safely on the boat and then it's up to you, and I ended up, it was a horrible, my feet were so swollen. It was so hot. And
Mm.
I felt how many times on the boat that particular tournament, but I was able to catch on that tournament, catch 3 fish, and that was enough to keep number one in points. So,
Good. Yeah.
um, yeah, it was definitely. And then ever since then, it's the struggle has just gotten worse. But
Yeah.
adversities are everything.
Yeah, I mean, so, to reflect back when we first met at ICAST and you making that incredible achievement despite having already some, medical issues going on, and then the roller coaster kind of ride ever since then. Um,
Yeah. Uh,
so what all what all's been going on?
so health wise, it's been okay, so that initial, after that first about a month long stint in the hospital, they diagnosed me with idiopathic transverse myelitis, which means there's lesions on your spinal cord and brain, and it's idiopathic, which means they don't know where it came from. They did every single test you can imagine possible. And then a few months later, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And then that diagnosis actually went back and forth because I was showing symptoms of multiple autoimmune diseases. So they went back to the transverse myelitis diagnosis, and I actually am going to see the MS specialist at MUSC in Charleston at the end of the month, and so they're pretty sure that's going to go back to the multiple sclerosis diagnosis. So we'll see. But in addition to that, that's just one thing, and that's already
A
uh,
lot.
hard to deal with. But then about 6 months later, I got diagnosed with thymoma cancer, which is a very rare, like 1 in 400 people have that worldwide a year. And um, it's basically your thymus gland, which is supposed to go away in adolescence. It was enlarged and had a tumor growing on it that was attached to my heart and my lung. They had to collapse my lung and go in through my chest and remove that. And then about 6 months later, after finally healing up from that, they found another um, tumor in my chest. And that one, thankfully, that one was benign. They don't know exactly where that one came from, but it was a 9 centimeter tumor. So they had to go in and open me back up. And along with that, diagnosed with intracranial hypertension, which is extra fluid on my brain. And that has, I used to have migraines real bad, but this is nothing like a migraine. This is, if you bend over to get something, it is, it's almost like a brain freeze headache that is just bad. But they're
Mm,
talking about doing a brain stent. I have to try a couple different medications before they do that, but they're debilitating headaches. I don't wish them on anybody.
mm,
Um, and then I guess the worst diagnosis that came a few months ago is I was tested positive for sclerodoma, which is 95% of the time it's a skin disease. But unfortunately, I'm part of um, the 5% that is internal, which means that basically you'll have organ failure because um, basically you have a excess of cartilage that will harden, your intestines or your heart or your lungs or, and it's basically a waiting game. So right now it's just, I'm struggling every day with being able to walk. I mean, some days are good days. I can get around the house. I was actually just putting on my shoes. I have custom AFOs, and look, of course, they have fish on them. And knee braces, and I can get around with a walker or crutches, and then some days it's pretty much a wheelchair. So and I take those good days and bad days, but the scleroderma diagnosis, it's a tough pill to swallow because there's no treatment for it right now, and that's a terminal. I felt when I had the cancer scare, at least it was operable at the time, and you can those kinds of things. But this is kind of it's kind of unknown, so it's right now I'm just trying to have a good quality of life and take each day as it comes. And there's some days I don't, it's pretty much bed rest all day,
Mm.
but and the social aspect, not being around people anymore. I was a teacher for 15 years, and so I was fishing, tournaments and everything, and it really sucks not being around people all the time
Yeah.
because I'm just love, being around people, and I
Yeah.
never met a stranger. So my days now filled with doctor's appointments and um, therapies and medications and things, but you know
Well, yeah,
whatever I can do to inspire someone else, that's my goal now.
well, that's not a bad goal to have. And it's important for us to have, something that we can focus on. And you mentioned you're kind of taking it one day at a time, and that's the whole premise of this new series, to just try to inspire other people who are going through tough stuff like this. And we'll definitely ask everybody that's listening or watching, for prayers. I think that's, that I believe in the power of prayer. I
Oh
mean,
yes, for sure. And I
so,
definitely have. I've had so much support and community, especially from our fishing community. I've met people, all around the world, but I have friends from all over the country, and that even though, they're not maybe not be local, I can still feel, their prayers and support, and, their comments and calls and everything. It just means a lot that uh, I have so many people rooting for me.
yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the fishing tournament that happened recently
Yes.
on New Year's Day. How did that go?
Oh, it ended up great. I mean, when we had 26 boats come out and compete. It was not a very pleasant weather day, so I'm glad we had the turnout. But then by the afternoon it was nice, and we had a lot of people came out from the community as well, came to the weigh in, and everybody had nothing but nice things to say. And um I think my friend Jen Nolan from Texas, she came and helped me a lot, with the weigh in, and registering everybody, and I had a lot of people that came from all over the state and from neighboring states that came down to fish it. And a lot of people requested to do another one. So when it warms up, we're going to try to do it again. It's not my first tournament I've directed, but it's the first one, that I've, done the benefit side of it. And we were able to, it was a 75%, 25%, uh, payout. So I was able to get some money for medical bills, actually go back to MUSC in 2 weeks, and so that's really going to help out. Going down there and getting and medical costs, get down there and get my treatment. And I go to 3 or 4 doctor's appointments a day, so being able to those copays, and I take about 30 pills a day. Being able to afford those, it's definitely helpful. And um I'd love to do some more. I've done tournaments before where we've hosted high school anglers, and help benefit those kinds of programs. So I just would just love to encourage as many of the kids and the women to come out and fish, as possible, and it be
Yeah,
a safe place that where they, it's fun. It's not, yes, it's competitive, of course, but it's, just want people to be out there and enjoy the outdoors.
absolutely. Well, definitely keep me posted on any upcoming tournaments, and I'd love to try to help get the word out so we can get good
Yes.
turnouts.
And
And
I thank you again to all the people that donated stuff. We had an awesome raffle, and um, lot of awesome prizes from,
Yeah.
people all over the place that were able to send stuff. And I would love to do another one where, we focus on a lot of things to help women and, basic stuff like, uh, being able to back down a trailer and being able to clean fish and all those kinds of, and casting and, all those other things that women generally, might not have experience or might not have a husband or, uh, somebody in their life that can teach them those kinds of skills. So I would love the next one that we put on. I definitely want to make it bigger and have more of an education, aspect of it as well too.
Hmm.
'Cause we have great facilities here at Drew Island on Lake Murray.
Awesome. How important has it been for you, when you're able to still be able to get out there and fish?
Very, very important. My husband says I go through fishing PMS if I don't get out there enough. um, Now I've had to modify that. I mean, we used to go out 6 to 8 hours at a time, and now it's maybe 3 or 4 hours. And
Mhm.
I really have to pay attention to weather and things like that because of my illness. The extreme heat and the cold now will it'll shut down my body and the pins and needles and feelings like that. Sometimes my fingers don't work like they're supposed to, and it's definitely a lot harder to get around the boat.
Mhm.
And I can't really pond fish that much anymore, of course. So it has definitely been a challenge. But um, you know, to get out there when I'm on the boat, it is my happy place, and it is. Even if you're not catching fish, you're out there in the nature and always beautiful. God's sunsets and sunrises and seeing all the birds and just everything out there, everything on the water or by the water. Lots of nature, and when I catch a fish, especially a big one, I mean, it is like a euphoria that will set over. I mean, it is my drug of choice, my addiction, and I can when I'm reeling in a fish, it's like adrenaline kicks over and I'm pain free for, a few minutes. And it is,
Mhm.
I can jump up on the net, when my husband catches a fish and it's like, strength I didn't even know that it just comes out of me, whenever
Mhm.
I'm on the boat. So and yeah, I may pay for it and have to be on bed rest for a couple days after, but I wouldn't give it up for
Yeah.
for anything.
I'm glad that you still are able to on certain days get out there and get live your passion,
Yes.
because I know that the fishing is your big passion and your catch kiss release. um Yeah. And I'm going to put links to your social accounts in the show notes. So if people aren't already following you, they can find
Yeah.
you on Instagram, Kate Can Fish. And you're also on TikTok.
Yeah, I
I,
just started messing around with that, having fun, gotta do something, my idle time. But I
yeah.
have a lot more, content to go. I really want to, eventually we've been talking about trying to get GoPros for a while, but one thing after another with medical stuff and everything
Mm.
hadn't been our cards. But I know, once we get that going, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Absolutely. I still haven't been able to get real into the whole TikTok thing yet, but it
yeah.
is fun to get on there and
Yeah.
watch some videos and fishing stuff, kind
Well,
of.
social media has definitely been, I mean, it's a way for people to connect all around the country, from any level of officials. Somebody just barely into it to, somebody that's elite, you can be friends with everybody on social media. And
Yeah.
it's definitely got a lot of people. You can learn a lot from it, on the sport and everything and, celebrate with each other and, learn a lot about techniques and, conservation and all that stuff. So it's
Mhm.
definitely, and as far as promotional, we promote, products and stuff that we use, and it's definitely a way to, for we love to support small mom and pop companies or things that are, just getting started, and so it's definitely a way for people to learn and educate themselves about, new things that are out there that
Mhm.
you have to catch fish and enjoy yourself while you're out there.
Yeah. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, we love everybody. I definitely, line cutters, there's my line cutters. They've been with, we've been with them for a long time and a great group of guys. And yeah, it's one of those, I just love his, he went on Shark Tank to, get it going. It's one of those American dream stories, that
Mhm.
that came out of it. I guess, we're using spear point hooks. That's something else one of those connections we made at ICAST, and great innovation the way that their hooks are designed. It definitely locks them in. I mean, um, a couple of my local guys, Davis Bass Busters, Shaky Heads. I mean, I've fallen in love with those. And gosh, there's so many. I don't want to forget anybody. Um, it, there's just I'm sorry, I wrote all these down, but
I put you
there's
on the spot.
I know, right? But I mean, you just watch our social media, things, and we every product that we do promote, it's things that we know and love their business model, and you know majority of them are smaller companies, because that's I've represented larger companies and stuff also. um I love my Columbia PFG. That's my I love everything they make. I mean, it's such good quality, but I also love my local Lady Fish, out of Hilton Head. They make some great. It's hard to find ladies fit clothing, and that's another one that's great to us. Strike King, they were so benefit. They donated so much stuff to our tournament. It was amazing. And Livingston Lures, they've been real helpful to us. We've gone through several different boats. Right now, we're doing a nitro Z20. We got that one because it is a lot of space.
Mhm.
And with me being handicapped, getting around the boat, it's been very helpful to it's a reliable. The Mercury's reliable. We've been
Mhm.
through a couple others that we've blown up and down, gone through a lot of lower units, but um yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of great companies supporting us. And
Yeah.
um and I was worried about that when my health issues started, but and I haven't been fishing as many tournaments competitively as I did, but
Mhm.
I still have all these great supporters, and they know I'm out there fishing and out there. You can still promote,
Yep.
and they still support us 100%. So it's been fishing community is so great.
Yeah, it really is. And you can feel that when you go to ICAST. And
Yes.
I was happy to see you at this past
That
ICAST.
was Well, it was actually our honeymoon.
That's
Jeffrey
right.
and I bet we met down there, Jeffrey Bournet. We yeah, we actually went down there our first year in 2017, and made so many connections that I mean, I ended up falling in love with him down there. and
Mhm.
and so 2020 we got married, and set the date right before I cast, 4th of July, and then it was canceled. It was just online. So 2021, that was our honeymoon going down there. And we plan to go every year that I possibly can. So
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you again this year if it all works out. So that'll be great. And there's also a GoFundMe page, I believe. So if anybody does want to help contribute to some of
yeah.
your medical expenses, I'll put a link to that in the show
Okay.
notes for this as well. So
Thank you.
anything coming up this year that you're looking forward to? Maybe some
uh
more tournaments.
well, my husband, he's still fishing from the pro side, in the MLFs. He's going to do, I think, some in South Carolina and Savannah River. I don't feel comfortable, or he doesn't want me yet to go off. We try to do as many team stuff as we can. I'm
Hmm.
definitely looking forward to the big bass tours, because my nicknames is Big Fish Kate. So, and I have cashed a few checks in the big bass tours before. So
Nice.
I'm definitely looking forward to doing those when they come near our way. And I've had a lot of requests to host another tournament, so we're gonna try to do another one, working around his tournament schedule. And every tournament he goes to, I'm going to try to travel with him and try to practice with them, and be get to the weigh-ins, and still be there, supporting him. And he supported me so much when I was, going chasing my dreams. So this is my time to support him. And I really want to get back out there. And that's, when I go out to fish, that's my goal, is to work on my stamina and work on my independence as much as possible so that I can get back to, competing and whatever capacity that's going to be. So,
Mhm.
um, it just feels like we keep having setbacks. So, every time I feel like,
Right.
"Oh, I'm almost there, I can fix 6 hours," and then it's like, oh, yeah, something else happened. So, I, God has a plan, and we're just got to figure out what it is right now.
Well, thanks for being on the show and for being an inspiration. And we'll continue to stay in touch and follow you on social media, and hopefully see you in person at some point this year in
Yeah.
2022. And
You enjoy down there in Florida. Yeah, I see you got your camper. Y'all can go anywhere now. So
yeah, we love that camper. It lets us allows us to be able to pull the boat, and
yeah,
and so hopefully we'll get to do some more travels this year with that as well.
yeah.
So
Well, I'm looking forward to. I have some people coming down to visit from anytime anybody wants to learn how to fish, I'm here all day pretty much. And so anybody, I love to help people. So if anybody, you know, want male or female, if they want to come, and we'll teach them everything, that we know. And so I love helping, and want to host some kids programs. Um, I've worked a lot, I taught kindergarten for 15 years. So I'm
mhm,
kids are my heart. And so I love when I can fish with kids, either if it's on the dock or on the boat. And then my high school kids, I love, you know, I definitely am a firm believer in, you know, when you can get kids in the high school fishing and doing that, it'll definitely keep them out of trouble,
mhm.
because you don't have time for anything else. Or money.
Right.
So I definitely agree in
Point.
that. And as far as teaching women, I think it's something that men and women can do. It doesn't matter if it's male, female, old, young, disabled, able, black or white, anything. Fish, it's a sport anybody can do, and so it is. And it's such a peaceful thing, and it's something you can. So I'm a lifelong learner, and so it is a great sport for anybody to get in that wants to be challenged and wants to constantly learn new techniques, new weather patterns, new, how to do stuff. It's always something evolving.
Mhm.
And, anything I can do to encourage someone else or to help anyone, if anything I can do, I'm here to help. So
Awesome.
uh,
And you're in South Carolina, Lake
that's right.
Murray, right?
That's right. We live on the lake right now. We're blessed to be able to, I love just being out there and being able to watch my pet ducks and the birds that come up every day. It's definitely a blessing. So,
That's great.
but yeah, it's a great part about living here is it's centrally located, so we can get to any lake in South Carolina within an hour and a half. And I would love to travel to some new places. I mean, that might not be in my cards for me right now. I'm not allowed to fly right now. And being in a car for too long, it's definitely I take lots of breaks. But I definitely, whatever time I have left here on earth, I wanna go as many places as I can to go fish. And last year, I didn't travel with my husband very much whenever he was competing, and this year we're definitely gonna make it a point for me to go and travel with him, even if I can't compete. It's still a blessing to be able to go and visit new bodies of water, learn new things, and
Mhm.
and help him with little women's intuition when he's practicing, and definitely seeing all the camaraderie of seeing everybody at the weigh-ins, and seeing everybody. So yeah, if any local ladies or anything want whatever, just hit us up and we'll make sure we can guide you in the right direction if we can't help. So
Great. All right. Well, thank you so
yeah,
much. And
and thank you everybody for your thoughts and prayers as well. Support
absolutely. Yeah, definitely
definitely can feel them.
encourage. Yeah, good. All right, now that you've heard the story, please be sure and share this episode and help support Kate and hopefully inspire others going through really tough stuff right now. Thanks again, everyone, and we will see you next week.
To